So the new DSS V7, by the way, the new version that we have is out is 64.17. You'll see this right up here. And what I want to do is I've made a kind of a list here. Let's go ahead and bring down the V7 for now. And what I want to bring to your attention is that I made some notes up here on this notepad. It's a little bit easier to work with. With this, we'll be able to go step by step through the process. Additionally, I want to let everybody know that I'm going to be creating a knowledge base out of this at the end of the session, so it'll be probably launched up later on today. You'll be able to follow this as well. And then, of course, the video will be in our support libraries, webcasting videos, and that's where we're going to have the recording. What we have here on the left is I have some Putty Sessions set up onto my Ubuntu server. So one of the first things we want to do is, before you start off, is want to make sure that you have 3 NICs, although you could use 2. We have the Ubuntu Server 12.04 that we're going to be using. When you log in, what we want to do is log in as sudo. So here's my first command. We want to run all in root. So we're going to run sudo space -i. And here we provide the password. And now I'm set as root. Then what you want to do is you want to run the following to refresh all the repositories in the database. I'm not going to be doing that right now, but I want to make sure everybody understands that command. Also, it'll take time once you do that, probably a few minutes, but not even that much, probably a minute and a half. So just to keep things moving, just go ahead, and you can even copy this. Is what I want to show you, is that here I'm copying it and then right-click onto the Putty session. That way you don't have to type all this in. So it'll be kind of convenient for you to utilize this text that I'm going to be providing. Once that updates the repositories in the database, then you want to make sure that you have set for to install the Open-E Multipath tools and the Midnight Commander tools. So you can do this real easily, and you can do this in one fell swoop, and it'll help you out. Just again, you copy it, and then you right-click into the Putty session, and this will then go ahead and start installing the Open-E the multipathing tools, and the Midnight Commander. Again, that only takes probably about 30 seconds, so 30 to 40 seconds depending upon your speed. And then once you're finished with that, then we're pretty much ready to start the setups here. Here we want to be able to set up the 2 NICs for ETH1 and ETH2 on the Ubuntu server. So we'll first start off figuring out what we have. IF config will give you -a listing of your NICs. So let's just say you had ETH1, an incorrect address. All you have to do is let's change it so you get an idea. What we'll do is just right click. Let's say if we want to change this 3rd octet to, let's say, 3, you'll see that reflected. In this case, I'm going to switch it back to, let's say, 1.10 so that you could see it. Let's go back to make sure you can see the screen. Here we go. All right. So now if we do just arrow up, and let's see if it changed back. And here you could see if we wanted to make a change to an Ethernet NIC, you can do so. So let's put it back to the 2.10. So what we'll do is we'll just go up. And then here we'll change the 3rd octet. Here we'll change the 3rd octet. 1.10. All right, and let's verify if it took it. And here we have for ETH1 the 172.10.1.10, and for ETH2 172.10.2.10. So once you've completed that, let's go ahead and set up the DSS. On the DSS side, what I want to do is set up 2 NICs, and I want to have on the same subnet for each of these is on for ETH1 1.11, and then for ETH2 2.11. Let's go ahead and bring up the DSS. Where you want to go is go to Setup, Network Interfaces, and I've already set this for on ETH1 and 2, but I just want to go through the steps so everybody understands. I'm going to click on ETH1, and all you do, again, it's very simple with the DSS V7, is you could just change the IP address here, and of course hit apply, and you're good to go. And also conversely, you want to do that for ETH2. So the next step after you set your IP addresses, you probably want to try maybe do a ping to verify. So let's see if we can ping those. We'll go 172. That'll be 10 dot. We'll do 1.11. And of course, now we're able to see the DSS on each one, and let's test for the E2 on the DSS. So it'll be 2.11, and of course, we're able to see it. So that verifies our connectivity from the next side. After that, you want to go ahead, and the next step, I have created this documents, and that way, again, once it'll be on our knowledge base at the end of the day, is we want to create our iSCSI volumes on the DSS V7. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to do that. First, you want to be able to create an iSCSI volume. It's very simple. You go to Configuration, Volume Manager, and right here on Volume Groups, bring up the next screen where you'll be able to go to VG00, which will be your default. You can rename that. Here, I've already created the iSCSI volume. What I've done is just very simple. Just gone right down here in the bottom where the action pull button is, select New iSCSI volume, and select Block IO. And if I want to create a new target, or just to go ahead and create the volume. And in this case, just to speed up things, because we've got a lot to cover, I went ahead and created it. Once that's completed, you want to go to Configuration, and then go to iSCSI Target Manager and Targets. Now, I've already created a target 0. This is just more of the alias. And I've already enabled my iSCSI volume. Here you'll see it right here underneath my target. It's showing that it's 50 gig, and it's assigned to LV000. I enabled it by hitting the plus sign, and it's pretty much ready to go. The only difference I did here was I just made some deny and allow IP addresses. I just wanted to deny everybody the right access, but also provide those two Ubuntu Unix access to that target/line. And of course, I made a modification down here to the IQN name, left the date, but I just added DSS.target0, and we'll explain that later on. Well, that's all you have to do on the DSS side. So let's go ahead and go back over to our SSH connection. So here what we want to do is we run the Ubuntu server, run a command to discover the iSCSI targets. What we're going to do is we'll go ahead and set this for, bring this down so it's even. We'll just take this. iSCSI admin is what you're going to see, and you want to select space dash dash mode space discovery space dash dash type send targets, and of course space dash dash portal, and then the IP address. So here we already applied it down here in the bottom. Let's bring that up. And what you want to look for is you want to be able to see that the targets are showing. So here we do see the DSS targets right here. We also want to test this on the other Ethernet 2. So we'll just go ahead and copy this. And again, you can just arrow up on your SSH console screen. So we do see the targets being shown. So again, I'm going to display this and leave this on here. What you want to be able to see is this. That's what the IQN we want to have for the target name. Now we want to be able to log into the iSCSI targets. So again, it's very simple on this side. Let's see, we'll go right into, basically, this is, here's a question. It says, why do I see the 192 address? Because I haven't set for a broadcast, and I put it on the same switch, and I haven't isolated my static routes. So that's why. And also, I have set that 192 NIC for my ETH1, so it's going to pick it up. And I get that question a lot, no problem. So let's go ahead and, where were we? Logging into the targets. So here again, what I did is I created a command. It's very simple. You can get this on the net as well in a lot of places, especially in on a lot of Linux sites. But we'll just give you guys all of this, but I'll leave this up for a little bit so everybody can see it. That way you can pause it during the video. Now we'll go ahead and copy it. So this is my iSCSI command that I'm trying to get to the node target name of the IQN DSS.target0, and of course I'm specifying the portal, which will be the 172.10.111, of course specifying my login command. So on the bottom here, you'll see it here. I've got my command inserted. And what I should be seeing is success. And of course we see successful that I am now logged into that target. Now let's go ahead for the ETH2. that we want to log into. We want to make sure that if that as well is successful, which is it is. Okay. Now, in our next step, we want to be able to find the two new disks because we're seeing them both on the ETH of those NICs, so we should be able to see what I have here is SDB and SDBC. What we should be seeing. Yours might be a little different. And here's what you're going to look at. And when I just run that fdisk space -l command, I'm getting my output here, SDC, where I'm seeing the 50 gig that I created. And if we scroll up, we'll see SDB. So that's what we want to be able to achieve. So try to, when you complete logging in on your target, you want to verify that. Now we get into the multipathing command. To run the multipathing, it's very simple. Again, you're running multipath space -LL. There's also a space -L that has a different output, but there's a lot of multipathing commands you can find on the internet that are very available and ready. Now what we're looking at is for SDB and SDC to both be running active and be ready. So you want to make sure you see that before continuing. The next point you really want to look at is this number right here. What this number is the worldwide identifier. So you're going to want to keep that. Remember this information. You can copy it because we're going to be editing the multipath.conf file. And basically, again, I'm putting what we really want to see is this. We want to be able to see our round robin policy. All the statuses are being active and ready. So make sure that you see that, of course, where you see SDC and SDB being assigned with it. So this number that you're seeing is very important when we edit the multipath conf file, and we're going to do that right now. And of course, in the beginning, we did the Midnight Commander installation. So this is where we're going to start using the Midnight Commander configuration to edit that multipath.conf file. It will be in the /multipath.conf. That's the file we're going to be editing. So let's go ahead and bring that up into another session. So here, let's bring up this window a little bit better for everybody. Hopefully you all can see that. That should be helpful. Here with the multi-commander, you want to make sure all your parameters are set. If you find that it is empty, when you go to our knowledge base, you can copy this information and you can edit it. What you could do is just basically put it in a text file, and you can import it with multi-commander. You can basically go right up in here, and you can go insert file, and it'll bring that text file in. So if we go all down, we want to make sure we have all these parameters. I accidentally made a mistake on one of my settings and had this line right here, the get UID call out, and that the -- device was in the second line, and I had some issues. So what you want to do is make sure it's all on one line. That'll be very helpful, especially when you start troubleshooting what's basically happening. Down the bottom, you'll see the multipath, and here's the worldwide identifier. This is the number that we were getting from the fdisk output. If you remember, let's go back to it so everybody can see it. This is the number that we want to make sure that's edited in your multipath.conf file, and you want to make sure that that is placed right here. Put a space there of your worldwide identifier, and then place that number in there. Next underneath is the alias. If we go back and we look at the output, you'll see that we have Open-E.test. You want to make sure that what we put in here matches. So once you have this set in there and they're matching, that's it. You're pretty much ready to go. So we can go ahead and quit. Okay, so we'll go to the next section. And again, I'll put this in here for the knowledge base article. That way you can copy it and paste it in there in case you don't have that set up. And we'll go ahead and provide that to you. What we want to do after we modify the conf file, we want to be able to restart the multipath tools. So here what we'll do is just go ahead and just run the etc init.d multipath tools restart. And let's go ahead and bring this window down. and then the tool is going to be started to restart. Stopping, you'll see it here, and then starting again. All right. Once you've started that, now what we want to do is you'll see when we run the fdisk again. So let's go ahead and run fdisk again, and you'll see that the output is there. So we're good to see the SDC and SDB right up above it. So now you're verified. What we do is we want to run some performance tests. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up another console, and we're going to use kind of this console for to monitor data flow. And we're going to log in with this command. So what this is going to do is we're going to show both Ethernet NICs. And please allow all questions at the end, if you will, because I don't want to stop and start. So if we run this command here, what we're going to do is we're going to see both NICs for the RX and TX outputs. So let's go ahead and copy this. And again, I'll be having this for you all on the knowledge base. So we'll run this into this other console screen that I have. We'll slide this over. Then what I've done is what we want to do is watch the data flow. So we're going to take this test right here, which is going to basically watch the transmit of byte counters from the different console. So what I've said here is just basically I'm using the Open-E DSS. If you remember, that's what we created. And then, of course, I'm going to set it for 1 meg, and, of course, 1 gig is the count that I'm going to be running. Let's go ahead and run this. We'll put on this screen here. And now let's go back to the screen. And what we're going to be seeing is the TX flow here, and you can see this right here. That's happening on both NICs. Of course, that runs a little bit fast. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to change it to 8 gig. Let's see if we can make it run a little bit longer for you. There we go. So you should be able to see where ETH1 and ETH2, you can see the counters being for the transmit. Now we could do this also for the read as well, so receiving. And what I've done is made another one. So here, let's change this to 8192 that you can review. Actually, yeah, we'll do that as well. Copy this. And we'll run another screen. Now you're going to see both counters running. So you'll see that the receiving of the bytes and also for the transmit that we're running at the same time. So these counters are good to utilize and to run. Okay, so that way you're testing on both NICs for your multipathing. All right, let's go ahead and cancel these. And now the next step. All right, so once you've run your test, what we want to do is then we want to format and mount the volume. So what we'll do is come down, and here I'm going to use an ext3, and we're going to run it on that target, which is the Open-E test that I've created. We'll go ahead and copy this. And here you'll see that the writing inode tables, they're done. They're writing the super blocks in the file system right here on the bottom. And then it'll be done just in a second. And then after that, we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and mount it. So we'll create our make directory and mount it. And then what we're going to do is mount Open-E test. Let's go ahead and mount our device. Now, once we're completed with that, what we can do is run this command again. We have this window up. So we'll leave this up right here, and then we're going to use the Midnight Commander. So we'll go ahead and bring this down. And let's look for our mount where we've mounted our target. So what we do is go right into /MNT for our mounts. And here we see the Open-E test is what we created. So there's nothing in there for obvious reasons. We just created it. Now let's go ahead and let's go to something I've created right here in my home directory. And I created MPIO, a lot of files in there. So there's like 2 big ISOs. Actually, those are the Ubuntu ISOs. It's 700 and some on meg that you'll see. And I just put a lot of directories. So there's a lot of files in here. Let's go ahead and we'll just go hot copy this. And what we're doing is copying the directory MPIO with the source, and of course to the target that we've created, that we've mounted, to Open-E test. Specify OK. Now let's go back to our other screen where that's copying data, and here you can see our counters both working for the multipath. So that's pretty much, I try to keep the webinar short and clean so that everybody has enough time to review it, but then also short enough to be able to move on to the other webinars. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Some of them are on the chat window. Please ask me now while we go back, and I'll just let this run up. We close out a couple of screens here. It looks like it's already done.